I don't got no notes. Like nothing.
Why are we even doing this?
Unless I talk about like the 20 minutes I've played of the new Sonic. That's what I've got.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah, go on.
You're not allowed to like it. Nobody else likes it.
I don't want to talk about those other reviews because I can't fairly talk about the reviews of the game, which the Sonic Lost World has come out on 3DS and Wii U. 3DS one is what I'm playing, and it's getting really bad reviews, more so than the Wii U version. As I haven't beat the game yet, so I can't say why. But based on the first world, the first 5 or 6 levels or whatever it is I played, I don't know, maybe 1 level. It's fun. It moves at a different pace than other Sonic games, and there are some different moves you got, and it rips off Mario Galaxy a lot, which is really smart. And it does this weird thing where it kind of like Mario 3D Land did. It's full 3D, but it's like Bug on the Sega Saturn. Like the way it was it's a 3D game, but usually you're always moving forward or left or right rather than rotating the camera yourself.
Okay.
And so it's a lot of angular platforms and stuff, and it actually works out really well for a Sonic game. And a lot of the areas actually kind of play out on these sort of cylinder, mini planets that you can kind of run around completely sometimes or just part of them. It gives you a lot of space to move around without giving you the chance to get disoriented, and that it works really well. I think more than any other 3D Sonic so far, it feels like the 2D games. And a big difference with the controls is that you have to hold a button to go in to full speed. He'll run when you're just using the analog stick, but it's at a pace that's pretty manageable for platforming. It's pretty easy to get a feel for. And then when you run, of course, you can still get your way around. You're just more likely to die, and you want to rely on homing attacks and stuff more. The thing is fun so far. The 2D levels, the straight up 2D levels, just running left to right that they put in. I only played one of those so far, and it wasn't too great. It was a bit too zoomed in, but maybe there's not a lot of those. Maybe it's just that one, and the one I just loaded up.
And then the one after that.
Oh, and then there'll be the one after that.
Yeah, that's it.
One thing about the reviews on the games that they've said, it's kind of a front-loaded game where it starts off great and then maybe the level design just gets a bit worse as it goes on. So I guess we'll see. Sonic Generations was so good.
How do you feel about what a lot of people are saying about how the game is it's not fast enough for a Sonic game?
I think a lot of people have theories about how a Sonic game should work, and those people are all wrong because they're not me, and they haven't actually thought about it before. Sonic games, the first few Sonic games on Genesis, they weren't all blazing fast. The Sonic games that are just non-stop speed, they're usually boring, and the platforming is a nightmare. They moved at a slower clip, and that's kind of the feel I get about this game when you're in the, when you're not holding the speed button. That movement speed feels like the old games. It's not a perfect transition because in the old games to go to those super high speeds, you didn't have to hold a run button. But it's acceptable here, and it works pretty well. I think you get multiple complaints about Sonic in 3D. They say that he moves too fast, so the platforming's too hard, and now they're saying he doesn't move fast enough, and I don't really know what merit that's based on. It's like they're saying, a Sonic game has to be this, or they're going to arbitrarily rail on it. It's because, I don't know, you just have to judge each individual game by its merits.
I think it's because, we don't really think of it as being that super old of a franchise because we've always been playing it, but it's been around for a while, so there's a lot of people that haven't played the old ones, and they're just kind of jumping in and just playing Adventure 2 and on after that, where, a lot of it was just running really fast.
I hate these people. I hate them so much. No, not really, but
there's some merit to some of the levels going really fast. The Generations 3D levels were really, really fun.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of it was just holding down the boost button and blasting through it.
It's got its appeal. I still think the best parts of Generations were when you got to do just straight platforming. And what I've played of Sonic Lost World so far, that's what's in there more and more. There's more kind of obstacle-based things, which the original games had a lot of.
Yeah.
It's, moving slower allows you to have more precise platforming. And you still move fast when you want to, and there's a lot of parkour stuff they've thrown in that I kind of wish he only did when you held the run button, Because no matter what, if you jump into a wall, he's going to try to run up it. I kind of wish that only happened on command specifically, because sometimes you're just trying to jump left or right on a platform, and he might get caught instead of jumping to a platform on his right, like running up the wall on the platform you're already on. That's something you adjust to and you learn how to make it not happen.
Yeah, I would have just assumed that it would be like a Prince of Persia thing where you have to hold a button down to
Exactly.
run along the wall.
That's what I thought it was at first, and kind of baffling that it's not, but because there's no reason to not. Yeah,
it's not
to have it as a default. There's
using
not
the
really
other
reason
buttons or anything either. So
yeah, and there's this kick you can do in the air now to stun enemies temporarily. I don't really see the advantage of that yet, but it doesn't hurt anything by being there. Because when they're stunned, you still just jump on them the same way you would have. Maybe there are some enemies where it stops their attack pattern or something. But I was kind of hoping you could just run up to them and kick them.
You know what game allowed you to do that? Sonic Heroes.
Did it?
You could, attack the enemies rather than just jump on them. That's what I was kind of getting at. Knuckles could
I was thinking of Mario Galaxy again.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can put the Goombas upside down, they're spinning, and you just run up and kick them. And it feels awesome.
That was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot all about that.
Yeah, Sonic Lost World, don't go in with any expectations about what you think it should be, and you'll probably like it more than some of the reviewers have. Maybe. You might also fuck with it.
What's our next time?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right,
Some more
Pokemon.
DS stuff? All right.
Yeah, I traded mine in today so I could get Sonic.
Tisk, tisk.
I got $28 for it. Come on.
So
I played my time.
Here's the good about Pokemon. Obviously, the new graphics are pretty cool. I mean, if you're just looking at screenshots, it's really not that impressive. But when you see the game in motion, it actually looks really, really awesome.
Except during the slowdown.
Yeah, there's some points of slowdown. It's not too often, though. But just the actual presentation of that game just sort of blew me away. Just the way, the graphics come in when you're going into a battle, and just the way the camera works in battle. It kind of looks like somebody's actually there recording it. The camera kind of bounces around
Yeah,
and zooms in.
it looks
really quick.
pretty epic.
Yeah, it's really cool. And, there's just some, nice little touches, like being able to take pictures of stuff at certain points where you can actually move your DS around. And it'll, actually move it around just like those, AR games and stuff.
Yeah. I thought it was cute how they actually have shutter speed and aperture and stuff at the exact same time I'm learning about it in my class.
You were talking about the Wonder Trade the other day, and how you just, throw a Pokemon up there and you'll get a different Pokemon, and it's just kind of cool to just be able to do random trades pretty much is what it is.
Usually they're from the Japanese, or they have funny joke names.
Oh, I haven't tried any of the multiplayer stuff, but I hear that's really easy to get into now. It doesn't really require a lot of setup. You just kind of get in there and it matches you up with somebody.
Yeah, I got matched up with somebody who fucking pulled out a level 50 Mewtwo, and I was fighting him with my level 27 Charmeleon, and you know how that would go. Yeah. He killed that, and I throw out the next Pokemon, and then first thing he killed that, and I throw out the next Pokemon. It was a little embarrassing.
So they don't scale your guys up to fight, I guess?
Oh my god, no.
Because I know there was a couple modes, in the older games, where, it didn't matter what level your Pokemon was. They, got put to level 50 or something, and their stats reflected that and everything, so you're kind of, on the same basis, but... Yeah,
no, it didn't.
Sure
it didn't feel on the same basis. That's not what it was like watching them all die.
They're just knocked out, Dunk. It's okay.
Not if you don't turn it back on.
I guess not. If you trade yours in.
Now they're all gone.
Oh, they're all gone.
Some guy's gonna delete you.
I turned them into money. No, he can delete it. I don't care.
So what sucks about the new Pokemon? Did you have anything that you just didn't like about it? I can talk about a few things.
I'll come up with some things since I already mentioned I sold it. It's, it is a fun game, but I just got my fill of it really fast. It didn't take long before I felt even though I hadn't seen all the different monster designs, I felt I've seen everything this game has to offer me. I got the first gym badge, and there's a pretty long trek of talking and kind of boring quests before you get to the second gym. And I'm going through, and all the fights are really easy. I feel super overpowered. Nothing in the story really matters. So it's a nice, cute-looking little game, but it's all like... It was just too easy going for me. Like, after I'd played like 6 hours or so, I was done. I didn't play. I pet my Charmander, and I had caught a Snorlax, and what else was there for me to do? Surely there's not any more. There's just the Snorlax and the Charmander, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's all of them that you catch? Okay, good.
See, I like how you just kind of wanted to go through and like blaze through the gyms and stuff, and that's what I wanted to do too. And I think the writing team kind of knew that, and so your companions are always beating it over your head that like, hey, there's different ways that people will play this game, and like, one of your companions just wants to fill up their Pokédex, the other one wants to be a trainer, that other weirdo just wants dancing Pokemon,
Which is not even a real thing.
But they beat that over your head like all the time. Like, hey, maybe you could try liking the game by doing this other stuff.
Hey, maybe you can try sucking my dick.
But yeah, those new swarm battles are a big pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah, those are really
so
boring.
Much.
It's like you have multi-Pokemon trainer battles. Why can't
Those
you
are
throw
fun.
out more than one Pokemon when 5 attack your guy all at once? When 5 wild Pokemon attack your guy all at once?
Yeah, everything's wrong about those. It's a one on 5 fight, and it's with like guys that are like half your level, so you're just gonna one hit kill them.
And you're not going to get very
So-
much experience.
You don't get much experience. All the ones that you fight are just obnoxious motherfuckers that will do things like stat reducing to you all the time, and if they reduce your accuracy or they confuse you, then it makes the battle even more of a pain and it draws it out really long. And if you want to catch one of those Pokemon, you gotta defeat 4 of them, and then you gotta catch the last guy. It's just a big waste of fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that. The roller skates are kind of controlled not very well.
Yeah, they're kind of weird too.
Yeah.
Brian, did you get to play Pokemon at all? I forget if you have a 3DS.
I don't have a 3DS,
Oh.
and I am not historically a Pokemon player either. So
Hey, me either. Maybe that's why I traded mine. But I mean,
One thing I wanted to bring up about Pokemon that relates to our last podcast about gender inclusion and these stereotypes and things. Pokemon sort of has that inclusion. You got you can pick from a boy or a girl. You have boys and girls in that little party that kind of follows you around. One of them, let's face it, he's probably gay. He likes the dancing Pokemon. That's all he talks about. He spins around. He does ballerina moves. Come on. I mean, it's got all this inclusion. Where do you see that in the reviews? Where's the articles writing about this shit?
This is me face palming. You can't see it, but it's me doing it. Well, Patrick, where's the transgender now?
Oh, that's true.
But no, I totally played as a black dude. It was cool.
Yeah, there's even that. I mean, you have the option, and nobody talks about it. They just want to talk about how you can't play as a girl in Grand Theft Auto.
Well, of course. It gets clicks. Also, Pokemon is vapid and stupid. But hey, whatever. But yeah, Pokemon's fun. I mean, you really do know if you're going to like it and stick with it going in. Because it is still definitely Pokemon. It's just got a very nice new shine to it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It is still the same old game. All the gym leaders still pick basically one type of Pokemon to fight you with. And they're usually only 1 or 2 guys that you'll fight. Like, they don't have a full party of 6. So it's kind of dumb. It's the same thing, but I'm still playing it. But it's nowhere near the addiction level that the older ones were. Brian, you're not playing Pokemon. What are you playing?
What are you playing?
Well, I'm still working on Final Fantasy VI Advance.
Good.
And I'm still really enjoying it. And as I continue to play it, I continue to make observations on how different it is, or it seems to be, from the last time I played it many years ago. And one thing that I've noticed is that it seems like there's a lot less grinding than I remember. And I don't know if they've made an adjustment on the GBA version to where they've kind of, sped up the leveling process, or if I'm just a lot better at the game now than I was the first couple of times that I played it, and I just kind of know what I'm doing, and so I don't have to spend as much time leveling.
Yeah.
But
I remember it being a pretty grind-free game.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's just,
except towards the end.
Yeah.
Then it skyrockets.
And as I recall, the first time I played it, I think all of my characters were at level 60 whenever I went through the final dungeon. And at the pace I'm going right now, everybody's at 35 right now. And I figure by the time I have all of the side quests wrapped up before I go to the final dungeon, they might be at 40. So I don't know if I'm going to need to do some grinding at that point, or if that's going to be sufficient. I can't really remember. But yeah, it just seems to be moving a lot quicker than it has in the past. And that might also just be because I kind of know what I'm doing and I know where everything is at this point, being that this is the 4th or 5th time I've played it. But and going along those same lines, it seems a lot easier than I remember. Like, for example, there's this one part in the game where Figaro Castle's engine gets clogged up by these tentacle beast things, and I beat him in about 2.5 minutes. And when I was young, in 6th grade or whenever, and before the rise of the internet, I wrote a letter to the Nintendo, what was it, Counselor's Corner or whatever, and had to ask them how to beat the tentacles.
Wow.
Nice.
And now it's it's no trouble at all. So I guess I've just played it enough that I know what I'm doing, and I pick up on weaknesses and that sort of thing, and can just plow over some bosses that used to be real trouble.
Did they get back to you?
They did get back to me.
5 months later?
Nah, I can't remember how long it was. But, yeah, they got back to me on the tentacles. And I wrote about another boss, too. I think it was what was it? It was the guy at the top of the cultist tower who, changes his weakness. And,
Oh, yeah.
I remember the first time I fought that boss, I fought him it took over an hour to beat him, and then he ultimated me, and I died. So, I think at that point, that's when I wrote into Nintendo, because I didn't know what I was doing.
I don't remember if I beat him. Do you get another character after you beat him or anything?
No, you just get, actually, there's a treasure at the top of the tower. I don't remember what it is, but, it's like a safety bit or economizer or one of those relics. And if you pick up the treasure, I think that's what triggers the boss to show up. But that's all you get if you beat him. And then you have to go back down the tower, too, after you beat him. So.
And I remember there's some pretty tough random encounters on that, if I'm thinking right.
Yeah, those are the enemies where you can only use magic in the tower.
Oh,
and a lot of them have reflect casted on them, so you pretty much have to go in with all of your characters wearing reflect rings, and you just bounce the spells off yourself to hit them.
Nice.
Wacky fucking Final Fantasy logic.
Yeah. But
yeah, I don't know if I beat him.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but
I beat all the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I beat all the. Yeah, see, that's another thing too. The dragon, the 8 legendary dragons. I was terrified of them whenever I was younger.
I was too.
I saved all of them until the end, and then fought them all before I took on the final dungeon. But now, whenever I run into one, I just go ahead and fight it and kill it, and it's not too big of a deal.
Nice.
So.
Oh hey bro, what's up? That is the sprite animation.
Right. Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah.
I wish modern Final Fantasy did that. Just kind of waltz up 15 feet away from him, wag your arms. That's an attack.
That is an attack, yeah. And then I'm kind of I have better use of my characters. Whenever I used to play, I would kind of have my 4 favorites and just play through the game as them. And so then you would be ready for the final dungeon. You would have these 4 super overpowered characters, and everybody else was, a scrub, and you had to spend a bunch of time leveling them. And then, so
That's what happened to me. First time I played, I was like, wait, I have to use these fucking people now?
yeah. So I'm playing it a little bit more smart this time and kind of keeping everybody at an even level. So, when somebody's starting to fall behind, I go ahead and start using them. And it seems to be going better, and you kind of get a better feel for each individual character's abilities and how to exploit them and that sort of thing. Nice. So it's been fun. And also, like, as I continue to play it, the translation on this one is a lot more bearable than the Super Nintendo version. It still kind of bugs me that monster names and item names have changed, just because it's not what I'm used to. But as far as the conversation and kind of clues as to where you're supposed to go next and that sort of thing, it is a lot better.
Cool.
So that's what I've been playing.
Nice. That's such a classic game. Like, just hearing you talk about it makes me want to play it again.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, Pat, you need to beat it.
You need to play through the second half of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someday. I won't be able to pick it up from where I left off, though. I'll have to start the whole game over again. Because that's the problem. I stop, and then I'm like, where do I go from here? Because it's kind of an open world at that point.
Yeah, that's right.
Not like a whole lot of direction. It doesn't tell you, and it doesn't have like one of those handy little journal functions like more modern RPGs and games do, where it's just like, here's where you left off, and here's what you're supposed to go do.
Yeah, it really
There's
is
nothing.
too bad it doesn't assume you're an idiot.
Or assume I haven't played in like a year. How about that?
It's from a different time. Just accept it. You need to give to the game. The game owes you nothing.
Right. Well, I owe the game nothing either, so.
I don't think that's true.
You're playing Guardian Heroes too, aren't you? Not Guardian Heroes, Gunstar Heroes.
Gunstar Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
I have played
Just
Guardian
badass.
Heroes recently too with my brother on Xbox Live, but that's for another
game's
podcast.
impossible.
That if you play on anything but easy difficulty, it is impossible.
I remember playing it with multiple different people, and like none of us. We got like, I think we got to the last one or the last 2, and they just like fucking tear you apart, and you don't have enough continues or lives or whatever to get past it.
Yeah,
It just gets silly.
on easy mode they give you like 99 credits to beat the game, and I think we had used maybe like 2 or 3 of them. But then you play on normal and you get 10 credits,
Yeah.
and you just burn through them. It's
Yeah.
without any kind of effort. So
I think I had too much pride to play on easy. I was like, no, we're gonna beat this fucking game, and then we never did. Of course.
Well, you're older now. That's changed.
But yes, another treasure classic, Gunstar Heroes. I've been playing the XBLA version of this too, and mostly because it has a save feature, which is nice when you're an adult and you have to like stop and do dishes and go to work and that sort of thing. So, and I mean, it has unlimited continues, so it's kind of nice to be able to use that save feature whenever you beat a level and you really don't have the time to play through the entire game again to get back to where you are.
Yeah.
Especially with the dice maze, which is rigged and awful. And,
It's totally rigged.
and I think it would be more fun if it wasn't rigged, like if there was actually some randomness to it, and it wasn't a guarantee that you were going to land on the do it all over again space every time you play.
You don't always land on it, but most of the time you land on it.
Yeah, so
But have you been able to play it co-op?
I have not.
It
no.
is made for co-op. It is so much better co-op.
That's kind of the impression that I'm getting. Is it any easier?
It is, yeah. It's a lot
All right.
easier, and you can actually. There are just so many subtle things you can like. You can throw your teammate at bosses, and it does massive damage. Like more than like you can actually in single player you can kind of jump into them and
Right.
do damage.
Yeah.
It's more than that,
Oh, great.
which is really cool. And the dice maze, I remember doing that in co-op when I was younger, and it felt like a game all by itself. Like in no small part because me and my sister playing it, we were both so bad we couldn't beat that maze, so it felt like the entire game.
I do think that the homing weapon plus the laser weapon is pretty much essential to getting through the game.
It's pretty broken.
It's broken, and I'm playing as the Gunstar hero who can't move while he's shooting, so it seems pretty beneficial for him too.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have given that some twin stick capability.
Ooh, yeah, that would have
Like
been
it's
nice.
made for it. It's just before that time.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is hard at times to aim in the direction that I want to aim. But,
I guess it's kind of one of those like Resident Evil 1 kind of things where they just wanted to make it harder. And just
That
like,
could be, yeah.
they have subpar controls just to have that added feel of chaos, I guess.
Right, yeah. Last thing that I want to mention there is that I didn't realize that the whole game is pretty much just boss gauntlets. Because like all the memories I had of it were playing it on an emulator and playing like I would play the first 2 levels and be like, oh, this game is awesome and I'm gonna finish it someday, and then never did. So yeah, I didn't realize that like let's see the one level has like 3 bosses in it, and then there's the minecart level that has like the 7 boss
So badass
thing at the end, which is really cool.
Oh, what's that thing called?
Seven Force.
Seven
Seven
Force,
Force,
yes,
yeah.
which is
You're
completely
bouncing from
awesome.
side to side on the
Right,
minecart
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And, yeah,
That
that's
was
really cool.
That was fun. But yeah, so then I'm pretty near the end of the game, and you like refight all of the bosses, and it's rough. I haven't beaten that part yet, but I keep trying, and I get a little bit better every time. It's just I don't know. It's one of those games where just repetition is really important, and you'll find yourself really struggling on a level, and then after you've played it 50 times, you can get to the end of the level without getting hit. But then the last thing just still murders you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I could never make it past the spaceship part, flying around in space. Have you been to that?
oh yeah, that was the.
That's
previous
where
level.
I could not beat that, and it didn't have a checkpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like at least like 5 minutes long, which doesn't sound like much, but I hate levels where you're stuck in auto scrolling and you can't
Yeah.
speed up past parts that you should be able to speed up past.
Mm-hmm.
That's my gaming pet peeve in general. That drives me fucking up the wall. So yeah, I never beat that. Yeah, but you did, so good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got those Ninja Gaiden skills, so I'm not surprised.
But so yeah, that's Gunstar Heroes. It's good. It's a lot more difficult than I was expecting. I don't know why. It's a treasure game, so it's going to be terribly difficult. But but I'm having a good time with that, and I play that and Final Fantasy VI for like 15 minutes every couple of days, which is about all the time I have to play games right now.
Awesome.
But I'm enjoying both of them.
If you want another short game to follow it up on Game Boy, Gunstar Heroes Advance or whatever they call it, Gunstar Superheroes.
Gunstar Superheroes. Yeah.
It's fun. It's not as good as the original, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I have that, and it's been a long time since I've played it, and I remember like a lot of people ripping it for whatever reason, but I really enjoyed it. I didn't find a whole lot of problems with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that people didn't like it because you couldn't do the weapon stuff where you would combine like the 2 different weapons and you kind of just like switched between the 3 at will. I don't think you had to pick up any power-ups for that, did you?
I can't remember.
I think
don't
you could
remember.
just switch them at will, and like people were mad about that for some reason. I had a blast with it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I
Yeah,
remember
I
it
did
being
too.
fun. Not as good as the original, but fun.
Yeah.
People in general, this is the second time we've come up on that. People in general get too caught up on what they expect a game to have rather than what it does have.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
That's starting to get on my nerves as I get older. Just fucking judge it for what it is. You didn't make the game. You don't get to choose what should be in there. Just take it. Fucking Bioshock Infinite doesn't have multiplayer. Big fucking deal. I hate it for other reasons.
And you did, even without playing it.
I don't hate it. I just think it's very interesting to read different criticisms. I don't even want to get into that because then we have to go into
Because we talked about it for about an hour, that one podcast.
oh yeah, but also like the article I posted on Facebook, just how obnoxious that one dude sounded. I think you commented on it.
God, yes.
Yeah. For game critics, you just don't sound like a jackass.